everybody, and welcome to the third episode of our Oreninc podcast series. I'm joined today by David Erfle, the junior miner junkie. David, thanks for making the time today.
Oh, absolutely. It's always nice to talk to you, Kai.
It's been a crazy day so far. It's like 8:20 where I am right now, p.m., and you still got a bit of a day ahead of you, but the markets are open for another 2 hours or hour and 40 minutes here. But it's been a frenzy out there, and not the good kind. What are you seeing out there
No,
today?
yeah, it's we got the as far as the miners are concerned, we got the post FOMC rate hike pop that everybody was expecting, and it ran up a bit, but we just had a quick reversal as the gold price got stuck again at that 1355, 1360 area, which is really strong resistance. So I was hoping for a breakout on the quarterly chart in gold. If we could get a close above 1330 on Thursday, that would be a breakout on the quarterly chart, which would look really good if I was a fund manager. Quarter end book scoring going on right now, and if I was coming back next week and I saw a quarterly breakout in gold, I'd be buying miners, but
Yeah,
just not to be
not
as it
today.
reversed here.
Not today. It's like I'm looking at my watch list and it's all red. It's like
Oh yeah,
pigs are getting
yeah, it's
slaughtered.
really.
It's insane out there.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
GDX is testing the $21 mark again. So I think we're at 2160 right now, but heading straight down for
Mhm.
21. And
Yeah, for the seventh time, most likely here.
yeah, we just speculated briefly before recording here what might happen if we're going to see what's going to happen if it breaks this time. But we're not as pessimistic today.
Yeah, it's there are signs out there that give the bulls some hope, but when you see insider buying like you're seeing in Barrick,
Yep, that's
which is
been
the
massive.
world's largest gold miner, that's been massive. And Barrick has bottomed before the sector in consolidations past, and the Newmont chart looks really good. That's the second largest gold miner, but a lot of the shares are appearing sold out. But I mean, this dreariness consolidation, 20-month consolidation, looks like it's going to continue a little while longer. But I wouldn't want to sell anything here either.
Yeah, I actually had that same discussion with my broker the other day. He's like, Kai, you need to sell a little bit, to cover your account. It's like, but no, I don't want to sell. It's like all the positions are like something's going to happen. I've been promised something, and then my broker tells me, hey, Kai, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it. It's like, so what's happening here? So
That's why he wants you to sell because he wants to buy it.
yeah, exactly. Like, and it's happened to a couple of companies in my portfolio. I have a lot of let's just wait and see, let's say, positions in there, and
Hmm.
just waiting for something to happen. And my broker or whoever I speak to says, yeah, I'll just buy it off of you. So it's like that tells me there's stuff happening, but we're not seeing
Exactly.
it just yet in the markets.
Yep.
So
Yep. And we're still, we're seeing that M&A perk up again. We had minor merger Monday last week,
yeah,
and we had three things announced there, and we're still having finances announced. Orezone just announced a $45 million finance, strategic finance, and things are still happening. It's slowed down a bit, but things are still happening.
no, exactly. And that the M&A actually is one thing I wanted to talk to you about as well. If you're going to see that trend continue, obviously. And those acquisitions have been mostly in North America and Nevada primarily, right? So
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would think that it's going to continue. I mean, there's a dearth of projects out there for these majors, and they got to start replacing these ounces. So all it takes, excuse me, all it takes is just one high profile merger to be announced, a big one, and then they all start falling in line. Is usually how it happens. So
no,
we're just waiting for that shoe to drop.
which one will it be, and where will it be? I have my
Right.
money a little bit, I think, on one of your positions or one of your portfolio positions as well. I think Atlantic Gold is going to have a phenomenal first quarter. It's pure speculation on my part, obviously, but I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and maybe this one will be the black swan event or whatever you want to call it that's going to set everything in motion.
Right, you're reading my mind there, especially the way the stock is trading. It's trading like it's in play. It keeps making multi-year highs. So that is definitely one to watch.
No, that's one of my watch list candidates here as well. Is like as you know, I write a newsletter in Germany as well, and that's been on there for a while. I think we recommended it at 54 cents, so we got lucky, and that's definitely one. Post
Yeah,
PDAX,
definitely.
like
Yeah.
one thing we wanted to talk about as well, like we haven't seen much change in momentum post PDAX. So neither before PDAX we've seen a lot of activity, nor afterwards actually. One thing our numbers showed is that the number of financings increased slightly from like 11 to 33, which is
Hmm.
in total numbers that's a 200% increase, but overall it's just a drop in the bucket because last week we've seen 26 financings, so more back to the mean, but activity really hasn't picked up in the financing space yet. And you mentioned just a couple like Orezone, that that financing is going to show up in our statistics on Monday in the index. But besides Orezone, we've only seen RTG Mining or RTG Gold, RTG Mining, I think,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Millennial Lithium Finance. And one thing I noticed, and I'd be curious to hear your comment on that, is that the battery metals completely dropped off over recent weeks. I haven't seen much besides Millennial.
Yeah, that is something, and you're seeing copper coming off as well. Well, copper's coming off because of what's going on with global markets. Dr. Copper is pretty much looks like it's selling off with the market, but yeah, you're like you said you're still seeing some financings, but they are slowing down, and it looks like they're waiting for the other shoe the shoe to drop too, as far as mergers and acquisitions. And as if we get that big merger, if we get that big merger or that big takeover, I think that would also light up the financing arena as well.
They'll just bring the investors back to the market, maybe bring them back from blockchain and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, or maybe even the pot space, right? Although that bill
Right.
just recently passed in Canada, that should
Hmm.
draw some more attention in that regard. But I think it's just missing the retail investor because the professionals like you and me, like let's consider us professionals here for a moment, that are watching. Like we're just eagerly watching the market and we're invested. We're investing. You just mentioned you opened a new position recently in one of the
Hmm.
Nevada plays. So we are active in the market. We are buying. We're using the opportunities. I recommended a stock in my newsletter for the first time in a long time again, actually today in our recent issue.
Hmm.
So stuff is happening, but only amongst the professionals. We're missing the masses.
Right, right. And you made that comment before we started recording here about having wait and see positions. It's you have your wait and see positions, and they get a little cheaper and a little cheaper, and you get down a little more and a little more on them, and you're thinking, geez, it's the valuation here is already crazy. Now it's super crazy, and there's no way I'm going to sell this position.
Exactly.
And yeah, and you just have a few of those, and it just doesn't make sense because you know what's going to happen as soon as you sell them.
That's my problem. What's that called? The famous effect? I forgot. But Murphy's Law, isn't it?
Murphy's
Once
Law.
you do
Yep,
something, the opposite happens. Yeah.
that's right. Yep,
Now, one
yep.
thing we really want to touch just quickly, really, just a brief comment, is COT data for silver, especially. I think that's one thing
Mm,
you've
yes.
been gung ho on, and you've been following quite closely as well.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's really something. When you see a 1.7% net spec position, that's crazy. There's that just tells me and it's also the largest net short position ever by large speculators as well. So, there's all we're waiting for is just that little spark. And once you see that spark, you're going to see a massive short covering in silver. It's all set up to happen. You just don't know when. This can continue for a while, and it can stay really depressed for a while. But I've never seen a more bullish COT report in silver. But on the other side of that, you see the COT report for gold, and it's not that bullish. It's more on the neutral side, which is very strange.
Interesting.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
All right, we got the long weekend coming up as well with Good Friday and the Easter break, right? So a lot of people might be gone
Right.
as well right now. I know
Hmm.
BC I think was on break this week, and other
Hmm.
states or territories or might be on break next week as well. So it is definitely slower. David,
Yeah, and you got quarter end book squaring going on.
yep,
So it's there's just lots to factor in here.
yeah, David, I really appreciate your time. This has been the third episode. We're definitely going to do a fourth. We usually do those in 2 weeks intervals, so stay tuned. David, again, thanks for your time on this crazy, what is it, Wednesday? Crazy Wednesday. After we see
Thank
Merger
you, Kai.
Monday, it's Crazy Wednesday, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot, Kai. Talk to you
Thanks so
later.
much. Take care.